My car broke down about 4 miles out of town. If it hadn't been for this storm, I wouldn't even consider going into the Old Dunsmere House. The intensity of this storm makes it difficult to see, and I'm at least an hour's walk from town. I was born and raised in Lauderville, Tennessee, population 1788. I knew all about the Dunsmere House and the ghost stories associated with it. As a kid, me and my friends would go up there on Halloween night and dare each other to go inside. No one ever did. The house was built in 1858. Its builder, Lucius Dunmere, was destined to become a captain in the Confederate Army. He was killed at Gettysburg at Pickett's valiant charge against the well-entrenched Union Army. His wife, Dorrie May, remained a widow for 2 years before marrying a prosperous businessman, Earl Jason Jones. He had a cloudy past, and no one seemed to know where he came from or exactly how he acquired his wealth. He built a hardware store in town and soon became a member of the city council. He was an outgoing personality who never tired of hearing his own voice. And at 6'2", he was a mountain of a man. He had flaming red beard and a booming voice, and no one in town could beat him at arm wrestling during a drunken saloon gatherings. His ability to consume alcohol was legendary. What people in town didn't know about Jones was that he beat his wife and adopted son Blake for the slightest infractions. They were prisoners in their own home. And one more thing about Jones. He was a mercenary, a hired killer, willing to murder anyone for the right price. And it amused him to live in two worlds. But one day, Earl pushed his luck too far. He was beating Dorrie May for not shining his shoes well enough one day, when 12-year-old Blake snuck up behind him and stabbed him in the back with a kitchen knife. His big body crashed to the wooden floor. Now they both knew they had to hide his body. It would be too hard to convince his cronies that he was beating them, that they were only defending themselves. It was Blake's idea to bury him in the basement. As the story goes, Dorrie May and Blake were able to convince the town people that Earl Jason Jones took off on his own accord, deserting his family. When Dorrie May passed away in 1891, the house reverted to Blake. He didn't want to have anything to do with it. The new owners were said to have discovered the skeletal remains in the basement and promptly moved out while the police investigated. The house was already in need of repair, and the new owners gave up trying to sell it. The local gossip asserted that anyway. Wearily, I opened the door. My heart is beating so hard. I try to calm myself as I step inside. I couldn't help feeling like that little girl who came to the house on Halloween night. But this time, there was no one there to share this feeling of terror. And I felt an additional coldness in the air, the presence of evil. And even with my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could only make out basic shapes. Then all of a sudden, I heard a woman screaming out in pain, a man shouting, and the voice of a boy crying. This motivated me enough to run smack into a wall, crashing through the thin wooden boards that were used to support plaster. There was a hidden room. Thunder rolled through the valley. The following lightning lit up the old house once more, and I saw a skull sitting on a tiny table in the corner. Next to it stood a tall man with a red beard. My sanity slipped away into the night. When the search party found me 2 days later, I was near death and in a coma. They transported me to the county hospital where I was put in intensive care. 2 weeks later, I came out of the coma. I was transferred to a regular room, but I ain't been able to talk yet. The doctor thought it was a good idea for my friends to visit. He thought maybe they might be able to get me to talk. One Sunday, when a group of my friends stopped by, I spoke. I sat up in the bed, looked everyone over carefully. They all came closer, and I said, "Anybody want to arm wrestle for a drink?"